You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you?
It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday, November 11th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for that. If you've subscribed, that's awesome. If you have not, please do so ASAP. And also tell everyone, tell all your friends about what we're doing each and every day here in the Quad Cities. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, another fun show coming up in just a moment. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us. So please reach out on X. I love comments. We love the feedback. Also, the chat is going on YouTube right now. It's been much more busy the last couple of weeks. I've told everybody, kind of explained that when I first started this thing, there's a lot to do besides talk. So I didn't do very well of chatting and keeping up with the chat. I'm doing better with that now. So we love that. Any questions you have for guests, any complaints you have for me, all that kind of stuff, hop on and let us know on the YouTube chat as well. We are also on all of your podcasting platforms as well. So whether it be Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts, you should type in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo and you can listen to the show. You don't have to look at my ugly face the entire time. You can listen to it as well. So, and then also we want to welcome our viewers from Central Iowa. I'm over 2 months, I think, doing the Central Iowa thing, getting close to it as well. Every evening at 7 p.m. on the WHO streaming app. So welcome to you guys. Thank you for the feedback, all that fun stuff as well. If you missed yesterday's show, we had Pat Anger, speaking of Iowa. We had Pat Anger, as we always do on a Monday, breaking down the Oregon loss, and then, of course, looking ahead to USC and a whole bunch more. Also, we got to meet Pat's dog, Bo, which was pretty neat as well. So go check out Bo from yesterday's show. Also yesterday, the Assumption volleyball team, a trio of Knights that won a state championship last Thursday, joined us. Wilton's head coach, Ryan Hetzler, the Beavers heading back to the Unidome for the second straight year. He was on the show, and then John Marks talking a little bit of everything when it came to the NFL, college football, high school football, all those kinds of things as well. So go check out yesterday's show as well. Coming up on today's show, a busy couple of hours to get to. The Iowa women are 2-0. They were impressive against Evansville on Sunday. Not a very good opponent, but they won by 76 points. So we'll catch up with Kyle Huesmann. A good time to look back and then look ahead, because Thursday they have Drake coming to town. On Sunday they go to Northern Iowa, and then things really heat up. They get Baylor right after that. So We'll talk a little Iowa women's basketball, also soccer and field hockey in the postseason as well. So Kyle Huesmann coming up in just a matter of moments. It's been a crazy 5 days for the Riverdale volleyball team. Last Thursday, they won a sectional championship at home in 3 games, and they had to do it without their head coach and assistant coach, both of whom were ejected from the game. Little weird situation there, but they did that. And then they go to Mendota last night, and they beat Chicago Christian to punch their ticket to state, winning the super sectional. They had to do that without their head coach as well because she had to sit out 1 game. So a trio of Riverdale Rams standouts will join us coming up later in hour number 1 to talk about what a weird and crazy week of volleyball and everything in between it was out in Port Byron. So that's coming up as well. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll have Monmouth Roseville's head coach, Jeremy Adolphson. The Titans are alive in 3A. I was the only one who believed in them when it comes to, Greg Armstrong, Mitch Stormer, Ty Taylor. They all said, give me Bloomington Central Catholic. I said, not so fast, my friends. I like the Titans, and we'll talk to Jeremy Adolphson because they went down to Bloomington and they got the victory, and now they get Richmond Burton coming up this weekend as well. So Jeremy Adolphson from Monmouth Roseville coming up a little later in the show, and then Illinois has a huge basketball game tonight, a top 10 showdown, Texas Tech and Illinois. In Champaign. We'll talk with Jim Mattson about that, a little about the Illini football team as they get ready to get back into action against Maryland. They had the bye week this week. So I've got a lot of people, several people like, hey, you're not talking anything about the Illini. Well, they were on a bye, and there was a lot of Iowa going on last week with Oregon and all those kind of things. So we'll catch up, get a little Illini from Jim Mattson coming up later in the show as well. Speaking of college basketball, Iowa State, a big game yesterday. They were in Sioux Falls, at the Pentagon, taking on Mississippi State, and they were pretty impressive, dominating 96-80 victory over Mississippi State. They had 29 points off of 26 turnovers. So the defense, as always, for the Cyclones, aggressive and opportunistic as well. Taman Lipsey with 25 points, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Iowa State, very, very impressive. We'll talk with Jake Brend coming up tomorrow on the show about the Cyclones' impressive victory. But Iowa State, perfect on the season, 96-80, their victory last night. NFL last night, the Bears are now in first place in the NFC North. Technically, the Lions are in first place. They're tied, but technically the Lions beat them by 31 in the second week of the year. So technically the Lions are in first place, but the Bears are tied for first place. The Packers, hey, here's something we can agree on, Bears fan. The Packers lost last night. They lost, and it's always good to see 10-7 to the Eagles. The offense was non-existent. Obviously, Tucker Kraft out for the year, a big loss at tight end. Matthew Golden, their first-round draft pick, did not play, but despite that, they had 7 points, and that's not going to win too many football games. And Jordan Love, and I say this so cautiously because then he'll come to Detroit on Thanksgiving and just torch the Lions. So I'm always afraid of karma. But he was 20 of 36, 176 yards, no touchdowns, and he lost a fumble. If that's Caleb Williams' line, we're ripping him. If Jerry Goff does that, we're ripping them. Jordan Love, just a couple weeks ago, I was hearing is the MVP, was the next greatest. Yes, he looks amazing sometimes. I'll tell you that. He looks really good sometimes, but he has games like this that has me just scratching my head going, and there's more of these sometimes than there are the games against the Steelers. So they are now 5-3-1 in the North. The Bears and the Lions are both 6-3. Give credit to Philadelphia's defense; it's really, really good, and give credit to Green Bay's defense. They played really well, and I read something in their 3 losses this year. They've given up 13, 16, and 10 points, something like that. So the defense played well. Neither offense looked really, really good. And of course, next Sunday night, the Lions go to Philadelphia in a big game out there. So, but as of right now, Bears are in Minnesota this week, and they'll go to Minnesota tied for first in the NFC North. So Bears fans out there, jump on the chat. Tell me how good they are. We had a poll question up yesterday. Will the Bears make the postseason? That was our OTA, one of our OTA poll questions that we're starting to do each and every day here on the show. Let me get a little update on what it is right now. No was 62%. Yes was 37%. I wonder how much that's changed. So hop on if you're a Bears fan on the YouTube stream or Twitter, or whatever you want to do, and let me know if you think the Bears are a postseason team. Are they the champions in the NFC North? But the Packers did not look the part yesterday. At Lambeau Field, last night at Lambeau Field. And then a little local college or high school football news. Fritz Diodone has officially stepped down at Rock Island after 3 seasons. I think 6 victories in 3 seasons were the numbers. Fritz, obviously head coach at Alleman, moved to Rock Island to take over the Rocks a couple years ago. 3 seasons at Rock Island. Anybody can say whatever they want when it comes to football and all those kind of things. Fritz Diodone is a class act, a really good human being, and somebody that's been a good friend to me. So football is one thing, and it takes more than just a head coach, and there's obviously how do I put this? Rock Island and football right now is kind of in flux, and we'll see where they go with their head coaching job. And obviously it'll be posted soon, and they'll be taking applicants and all those kind of things. So football aside, Fritz Diodone is a really good human being. So I wish Fritz the best of luck in whatever he ends up doing and all those kind of things. But he steps down as the head football coach, and Rock Island now looking for a head football coach. I know there's a thought process of where you want to go with it and who you want to hire. There'll be names popping up and all of those kind of things that are tied with Rock Island, tied with the Western Big Six, those kind of things. But Rock Island 5 years ago, if that job came open, is an elite job. It's one of the biggest jobs you can get after. I don't know what it is right now. I'm curious what it is right now. I'm curious the candidates they get, the applicants they get, all those kind of things. So Rock Island, the Western Big Six with a head football coaching vacancy. We'll see how they fill it. It'll be fascinating to watch. Obviously, when you come to the Western Big Six, Sterling's doing great things. John Schlemmer's one of the best in the business. United Township's been turned around by Nick Welch. They're back in the postseason. Moline's rolling with Mike Morrissey, and Matt Furlong is doing an amazing job at Geneseo. So life isn't getting any easier in the Western Big Six, and that's not even mentioning, what Coach Little's done down in Quincy. So it's an intriguing job, an interesting job, and we'll sit back and watch and see how they replace and move forward. But above everything, Fritz Diodone is a really good human being. So I wish him the best of luck as well. Well, we got a big show to get to. As I mentioned, a lot of things to cover over the next 2 hours. And I want to start with a little women's basketball, because the Iowa women are always on everyone's minds. It seems like one of the biggest talking points we have on the show is Iowa women's basketball. And they were impressive this weekend on Sunday at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So let's start things off by going ladies first. We'll talk a little Iowa women's basketball. Not that Kyle is a lady, but we're going to talk about the Iowa women. Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report joined me right now. It was a fun weekend for the Iowa women. Football we won't get into. That was disappointing, but it was a really impressive afternoon at Carver Hawkeye. Now going in, this is obviously not one of the better teams Iowa's going to play this year. Your thought process going in, and I think despite it being a lesser opponent, they checked a lot of boxes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, going in, and this is kind of similar to, we talked about this for the exhibition game in Southern as well. It's one of those where they're going to come in as a huge favorite. I think the line ended somewhere around 40. So, I mean, it was just a giant line for the game. And it's one of those games where, kind of like you said, it's not one of the best teams they're going to play. Probably Evansville is probably the easiest game they're going to play this season. But the thing that you look for when you play a team like that is don't mess around. Go out and dominate and whatever you want to cover the spread, whatever you want to do, just make it look impressive like you're supposed to do. We're not going to come away from this game saying, I was going to win the national title. They're a Final Four team. But you never want to come away with, they were favored by 40 and they won by 20 or something like that and didn't look great. If you're favored by that much, you're expected to win. This is one of the easiest games on the schedule. Go do it. Go dominate. And I think winning by 76 is dominating. So, impressive to see them go out and put up a program record with 119 points. And then the largest margin of victory in program history, I think it beat out the previous record was 68. So they passed that by a handful of points. Impressive to see them go out. And that's still a D1 basketball team. So to dominate at that level was pretty impressive. But like I said, that's exactly what you want them to do. There's another team that doesn't have the size to match up with Ava and Hannah and Layla Hayes. And, they finally started to see some shots fall. But that's what you want, is them to just go out and dominate, don't mess around. And that's really what they did. They got out to a 29-10 start and really just coasted from it. Didn't really coast, I guess. There wasn't a lot of coasting because they just kind of kept the pedal down the whole way. But they dominated, which is what they expected to do.
Absolutely. And you look at it, Kyle, with the newness of this team, when it comes to the transfers and the freshmen and the new faces, games like this aren't a bad thing at all. It gives people a chance to get comfortable and all those kind of things. You look at it and there's so many. I almost always like to ask you, what was your headline when you looked at the game? And there's so many, because Layla Hayes impressed. She had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 9 of 11 from the field. There were 31 assists on 42 field goals. So there was sharing the basketball. Chit Chat was impressive once again. Ava Hayden was really good. So, the list goes on and on. So it's hard to pick out one, but what were some of the storylines that you're like, wow, this is maybe not just impressive on this night, but maybe a bigger deal moving forward, like the freshman Layla Hayes or someone like that?
Yeah, I think you're right. You look at the stat sheet and almost every single stat stands out. There's nothing that you look at that stat sheet and you say, well, they didn't do this quite so well. Everything looks really good. But to your point, you're right that, this team has some new players in new roles. And obviously, they get the off season, the summer, and then the early fall practices to practice together. But the big thing is you got to go out on the court and play in real games. And obviously they got the exhibition. They've got these 2 games out of the way now. Got 2 in-state opponents coming up, but then after that, it's Baylor, who's a top 10 team now. They beat Duke in their opener, and you got Miami, who's going to be an NCAA tournament team. So the difficulty is going to ratchet up here soon. So it's good to get a couple of these games where you can build the chemistry on the court in an actual game setting. I think all the players, all the coaches will tell you that beating Evansville by 76 is way better than playing in the practice gym against the Gray squad. Like, it's just different in there. It's not the exact. You can never replicate a real game like feel. In terms of what kind of stood out, obviously Layla Hayes was a big one. Again, Evansville just doesn't have the size to counter against the Layla Hayes, but to see her go out and like you said, 9 of 11 from the floor, had 20 points. Pretty much every time I see her play, I'm more and more convinced that she's going to be able to give real backup minutes behind Ava Hayden. And I know there were some questions coming into the year. Can Layla right away be that player? Or are they going to have to slide Hannah over there for some minutes? And I think there's going to be, every so often, you're going to see Hannah. Maybe they go with a smaller lineup and Hannah's at the 5. But I think Layla Hayes is going to be able to do those backup minutes in a game like, the other day she plays almost 20 minutes. And in some games that might mean 8 minutes or 7 minutes. But I think whatever minutes they need her to play, I'm getting day by day, I'm more convinced that she's going to be able to fill that role. I was really, really happy to see the 3-point shooting get going. 14 to 26 is really good. And that's after, a slow start, again, exhibition, Southern game, it's only 2 games, but they were like 12 of 41 from 3. It was something like that. And Taylor McCabe and Emily Rodriguez had combined for 9 of those 12 threes. So it was just one of those where you weren't concerned, but it's one of those where when you have these games that you're going to win handily, you want to build some confidence from that 3-point shooting. You didn't want to go into a Baylor game or a game against Drake or something and say, we really haven't shot the 3 well. Hopefully today is the day. Evansville was the day. Addie Deal knocks down a couple of threes. Chit Chat was 4 or 5 from 3, so that's really good to see. Taylor McCabe, again, 4 made 3. She's gonna, if they get her that volume of looks, she's gonna make 83s this season. Obviously it's gonna get tougher to find her looks because teams are gonna be scouting and trying to stop her. But Hannah Stolke makes a end of shot clock 3. Kylie Feuerbach gets her first 3 of the season. Taylor Stremlo and Jada Jimfy both make one. So just good to see a rather than Emily Rodriguez and Taylor McCabe do those first 2 games, to see a plethora of players go out and knock down 1, 2, 3s, whatever it was. But yeah, like you said, the numbers up and down are just impressive. Hannah Stolke ends up being, she goes 13 and 6. Taylor McCabe had 12 points. Chit Chat, like you said, was fantastic. I mean, 16 points, 10 assists, but 10 assists to 1 turnover is really impressive. So through 3 games, she's got 21 assists and 3 turnovers, which is that's pretty elite no matter who you're playing. So really been impressed with her and how she's been able to lead the offense. You mentioned new players. She's one of the transfers that came in, really just led this offense at a really high level. And you see, I think we talked about it, a little bit earlier, just she really lets the offense come to her. And she goes 5 of 6, as I said, 4 threes, 16 points. And that was without forcing anything.
Yeah.
That was letting those shots come to her. And she's still able to finish with 10 assists. So really impressed with what she's done so far. And it'll be interesting to see what she does once they start getting into some tougher competition. But really impressed with the win over Evansville and how they were able to get it done. But there's some games down the road here that'll start to test them, and we'll start to learn more about this team.
No, absolutely. Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report joining us right now. I remember talking to you about Chit Chat, and even probably not just you, but Coach Jan Jensen, about how they want her to be more aggressive because she is a good shooter, and you mentioned let things come to herself. Now, I don't think she's going to shoot 80% from 3 for the entire year, but you can see she can put the ball in the basket. You can see why they want her to be a little more aggressive, don't you?
Yeah, and I think there's kind of a balance there because, like I said, I mean, she lets those plays come to her, and yeah, obviously she's probably not going to be 5 of 6 every single night. But I think the fact that you look at how teams are going to scout Iowa, they're going to try to stop Ava Hayden, they're going to try to stop Hannah Stolke however they can, and certainly Taylor McCabe off the bench, if she's going to make 3-4 threes a night, teams are going to try to stop her as well. And all of a sudden, you're talking about Chit Chat, Emily Rodriguez as well. I know she didn't have, she finished with 9 against Evansville, but she had been pretty impressive in the first 2. You're talking about a lot of scores that might be ahead of Chit Chat on the scouting report in terms of who do we need to try to stop first. And if teams are trying to slow down a Hannah Stolke or an Ava Hayden, or we're going to try to stop Taylor McCabe, opportunities are just going to come to Chit Chat because the teams are trying to stop other players. So that's where, you might want her to be more aggressive in some spots, but I think opportunities are organically going to come to her just because other teams are going to try to stop other players. So that might mean they really clamp down on Hannah on a drive, but Hannah can turn and kick out to Chit Chat for an open 3 or something like that. Or Taylor McCabe gets shut down and just swing it another pass around the top of the key or something like that. So I think Chit Chat's just going to get opportunities by being maybe that 4th or 5th scorer on the roster, 4th or 5th player on the scouting report. But yeah, certainly a player that can dribble, drive, and she's undersized, so she's not going to score around the basket a ton, but can do that pull up, floater, jump shot, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, certainly through these first few games, like I said, I haven't seen her force a shot yet. And to see her go out, and I think she had, what'd she have, 12 against Southern, something like that, or maybe that was the exhibition, 16 against Evansville, and not feel like she's forced anything. I'd like to see what happens when she does start to try to be a little bit more aggressive. But I mean, you're never going to fault somebody for finishing with 10 assists the way that she's able to spread it out to teammates and get them in good scoring position. But yeah, I've been impressed with how she's led the offense with these being her first 3 games as a Hawkeye. And like I said, obviously you get the summer and the fall to build chemistry with the team, but to go out there in those first games with the team when, like I said, these are real games that count in the standings and put up those numbers has been pretty impressive.
The Hawkeyes, one last thing on Evansville, and it's just something you've seen from the exhibition to the first 2 games of the season. I don't know how much of Journey Houston's going to play this year, but when she gets out on the court, she makes the most of her minutes. Didn't score a lot in her 13 minutes, but 7 rebounds in 13 minutes. She's somebody that, as somebody who's covered a lot of her basketball games, she does a lot. Obviously, she's going to score, but she does a lot of other things on the basketball court. So impressed with her start. And patiently waiting to get and making the most of any minutes that she does get. It's kind of in-state week right now for the Iowa women. They get Drake at Carver Hawkeye on Thursday night, 7:30 tip. What do we know about this year's Drake basketball team for the ladies?
Yeah, it's a different Drake team from years past. They don't have the Katie Dennebeer. They don't have I want to say it's gosh, I can't think of her name. I think her sister's on the team now. They don't have a couple of their top players from the last couple of years, most notably Katie Dennebeer, who is, to me, an All-American point guard that didn't necessarily get the recognition that she deserved in her time at Drake. This is a pretty new Drake team. Abby Olsen was back. She's kind of been the leading scorer through a couple of games. She had 23 against Creighton, so she's been able to fill it up early in the season. But it's a new Drake team. It's a little bit different because some of those players from the years past are gone. Some of those players that you got to know over a couple of years from Iowa playing them every year. I still think this is going to be maybe a good Drake team in Missouri Valley play. Allison Pullman's a fantastic coach. I think he's several years, maybe a couple of years away from moving up, kind of like the other Drake coaches have done, both men's and women's over the last couple of years. How they seem to step up to higher coaching positions. But a Drake team that I think early this year is still trying to find their way with some new pieces. They beat I can't think of who they beat off the top of my head in the opener, but they lost to Creighton in this last game. So they're 1-1 coming in. Just not the Drake team of the last couple of years. A team that I think is probably going to be playing better down in Missouri Valley play than they are at this point of the season. So I think Iowa's going to handle them at home. But again, it's an in-state game, so it's a different feel. They might not be, the Drake of the last year's past where you think they're going to make the NCAA tournament, that type of thing. But it's still an in-state game, and they're going to come in wanting to beat Iowa and at least make Iowa feel uncomfortable in that type of game. So it's going to be a different feel from these first two games for certain. And Drake is better than Southern and Evansville, so it's going to provide a different test that way. But I do think that Iowa should be able to handle this game, and certainly the same kind of with UNI on Sunday. They have to go up there to Cedar Falls, but UNI's lost some players as well. They lose Maya McDermott. I know Grace Buffelli was out last season with an injury, but she's over at Creighton now. Yeah. So some of their players that people have gotten to know over the last couple of years are gone. They've got some turnover as well. So I think, again, these in-state games are going to have a different feel because they are in-state rivalry games. But I think more than in years past, Iowa should be able to handle these two games if they play their best basketball.
Obviously, the in-state game that'll mean the most will be coming up December 10th when Iowa goes over to, I believe it's at the Hilton this year as well. You mentioned, you got the two in-state games, and then it steps up a little bit when you have Baylor. After that's next Thursday down in Orlando. What do you want to see from Iowa this week? What are some of the I don't want to say concerns because it's hard to look at Evansville and say I'm concerned about certain things, but it's just concerns coming into the season. What are some of the things that you want to see, and where do you see this rotation going? Because when you're playing in Evansville, where you have, you're going to be able to play everybody, and everybody almost got. It's funny, you look at the box score, and it's like everybody got between 15 and 25 minutes, and there's a lot of people playing. Where do you still see this? I guess we'll start with that. Where do you see this rotation going in the next couple weeks for the Iowa women?
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting because we kind of talked about with Evansville where you're a big favorite, and same with Southern. You're a big favorite. You want to go in and just see them dominate and take care of business, and that means there's going to be a lot of players that are going to be on the court. I don't think they're going to beat UNI or Drake by 76 or even by 30 or something. But I think if Iowa goes out and plays the way that they're supposed to play, I think those are two 20-point wins potentially. So again, we might see a lot of players on the floor. So Baylor might be that first game where we find out, okay, here's the rotation that Jan feels comfortable with right now. It's hard to say what they're going to do because I still think you're going to need 8 or 9 players to play, and even in the closest of games. Some of those players down at the very end, that 9th player might play 5 minutes, but you're still going to have to play a pretty big rotation, even in some of these early games. It'll be interesting to see because I think, Ava Hayden and Hannah Stolke, just because of what they give from a rebounding standpoint and a scoring standpoint, they're going to be out there a lot. Like I said, I do feel comfortable with Layla Hayes coming in and providing some minutes. I don't think she's going to get 20 minits against Baylor, but I think, whatever minutes she gets behind Ava are going to be, I feel that she can contribute in those minutes. Chit Chat, the way that she's been playing, is going to have to play 30 minutes in my opinion, because I still think they're trying to figure out what they want to do in terms of the backup point guard position. Obviously, we've seen Addie Deal she's taken some time to get settled into things. I know a lot of people just expected her to come in and be just the greatest freshman of all time, which not every freshman's like that. Sometimes it takes some time to settle in. And I think we saw some of that against Evansville. She finished with 11 points, knocked down a couple of threes. Maybe the performance she needed to settle down a little bit. But after Addie Deal, Taylor Stremlo is still someone that's trying to settle into her role. There's other players that can bring the ball up the floor, but I think right now going into that Baylor game, you want Chit Chat to have the ball in her hands as much as possible. And obviously, she's probably not going to be Bennett Sturts playing 39 minutes or something, but I think, she needs to be out there 30, 32, 34 minutes, maybe, even if they don't feel comfortable with other players handling the ball. It'll be interesting to see what they do with a Kylie Feuerbach, who hasn't really been huge in the scoring column the first couple of games, but obviously what she provides defensively when you start playing a Baylor or a Miami, or you talked about Iowa State, they got UConn as well. Kylie Feuerbach's gonna have to be someone that's gonna be out there just because of what she provides defensively. And Taylor McCabe, I mean, if they're able to get her 5, 6, 7 looks a game, she's got to be out there because I mean she's 4 of 7. You talk about getting her 6, 7 looks a game. She's going to be averaging 3 or 4 made threes a game because she shoots at such a high level. So she's someone that if they can continue to get her that amount of looks, she's going to have to be out there. Certainly with what Emily Rodriguez provides, you feel like she's got to have a big chunk of the minutes. But like you said, it's kind of hard right now because we're seeing these players play 20 minutes a game, and they're doing really well against the Evansvilles and the Southerns. I think UNI and Drake, because like I said, it's going to be Iowa's still going to be a big favorite. It's going to be a different challenge. It's going to be a step up in competition. So I think these next 2 games will be interesting to see. Are the same players that have stood out the first couple, are they standing out again? And maybe answer some questions with the rotation. But in terms of what I want to see, again, like I said, they're going to be favorites in these 2 games. Go out and don't mess around with a Drake and win by 8 points or something like that. Go win by 20. I think they can do that. Go show that you can be dominant against these in-state opponents rather than stumbling into the Baylor game with a couple of, mediocre wins. You win by, like 8 against Drake and maybe 10 against UNI. You don't feel as good going into the Baylor games. Go out and take care of business in these 2 in-state games like you're supposed to do. And then get into the Baylor game, which is going to be a top 10 game. I think Iowa would be in the top 20 at that point. So that'll be that first really, really big test. But I want to see the 3-point shooting as well. I mean, one night against Evansville was great, but they got to turn it over, shoot well again against Drake, shoot well again against UNI. That's an area that I feel like they have the volume of shooters. I think they have enough shooters, but it's a matter of, like I said, Kylie Feuerbach makes 1 against Evansville. Taylor Stremla makes 1 against Evansville. That's kind of what they need. Is they've got the Taylor McCabe. They've got a couple of shooters that you feel like can make a couple of games, but you still need those people that are going to show up and they made 1. That can be helpful if you have 3 or 4 players that make a 3 apiece. If Hannah makes 1, Kylie makes 1, Addie makes a couple. That's how you start to get those numbers up. It's not necessarily that player that goes out and makes 8 threes for you. You have to spread it out with this team, whereas you look back at like the Caitlin years. Caitlin could go make 8 of them for you, and that would help you get up there. But this team's going to spread it more out a little bit more. So I want to see the 3-point shooting continue over these next couple of games. But I do think the schedule is given a really good progression of exhibition game, 2 lower level mid-majors. Now it steps up to 2 solid mid-major programs, and then you get into the tougher tests. So I think the schedule has progressed nicely for a team that maybe needs that steady progression on the schedule this year.
Kyle Huesmann joining us right now from the Hawkeye Report right here on OTA. I want to talk to you about everything else you're doing right now, because obviously women's basketball is a big thing, but you're heading over to soccer here in a moment, and then field hockey obviously on everybody's minds as well. Kind of update us on those, and they don't get as much publicity as the other sports do, but Iowa really excited about a couple programs right now as we head down the stretch.
Yeah, we're just getting started with the women's basketball season, but we're in the postseason play now for field hockey and soccer. And I'll start with soccer, actually, because the selection show was just yesterday on Monday afternoon. And I was going to host an NCAA tournament game for the 3rd straight season, which is pretty impressive what this program's been able to do under Dave Diani, a program that just wasn't good before he arrived. And I know it's a tough way to say it, but this is the truth. It wasn't a good program before he arrived, and he's turned them into, I wouldn't say like maybe not on the national stage quite yet, but I mean to host for the 3rd time in a row, and obviously made the Sweet 16 last season. This team has really done some things. They're really one of the upper level programs in the Big Ten now, up and coming programs, and they'll open with South Dakota State on Friday. A game South Dakota State won the Summit League, but a game that I think Iowa should be able to take care of business on their home field. And then it'll be LSU or Houston Christian, and LSU is the 4 seed in their region, and Iowa's the 5 seed. So that should be a pretty even matchup. That will be, I believe, at Vanderbilt, who's like the 2 seed in the region. So, or maybe even the 1 seed. So that'll be where that would be at, and that would be the week after. So, like I said, I think Iowa's a favorite to move through against South Dakota State, and then it'll be presumably LSU with a chance to get to a 2nd straight Sweet 16, and that would be impressive to see them not only get the first last year, but then double up and get there again. That would be a huge step for the program, and obviously they want to potentially get that first Elite Eight appearance. It's with a program like this that doesn't have a ton of postseason history. It seems like every year the goal is to let's do another new thing, and the new thing would be the new thing this year was to continue that streak of hosting. The next new thing that they can try to do is make it a streak of Sweet 16s and potentially get to a first Elite Eight. A team that maybe down the stretch of the season was a little up and down, but still a team that I think is capable of duplicating what they did last season. And then on the field hockey side, the selection show was late on Sunday night. I thought they were going to Evanston. That's kind of how it always works out. Instead they're headed to Chapel Hill, which is North Carolina hosting. They got the number 1 overall seed. I was going to face Duke on Friday. That's at 1:30. So very full Friday day. We got field hockey against Duke, soccer against South Dakota State, and then men's basketball's got Xavier, which I am also covering because Tom's out of town for USC. So busy Friday, but yeah, I will play Duke. The way the field hockey bracket played out was really interesting to me with Northwestern not even hosting. I thought Iowa was locked into going to Evanston, and there is no Evanston regional. So I could do a whole 20-minute thing on why that was ridiculous that Northwestern's not hosting. The reigning national champ goes 18-1 and doesn't host. I don't understand that whatsoever. But Duke, a team that I look at their resume and they don't have a ton of high-level wins. They played a lot of really good teams. The ACC is the best conference, so they play a lot of tough games. Didn't necessarily get a lot of huge wins. I think this is certainly a game that Iowa can win and move on to the Elite Eight. And then you're talking about a rematch potentially with North Carolina in the Elite Eight with a chance at the Final Four. And that'll be interesting to watch. That would be on Sunday during the Iowa UNI women's basketball game.
Just to make your life even more
difficult.
difficult.
No, actually, I've done this a couple of years in a row. It's always the same time. I think a couple of years ago it was at Drake when I was there and trying to watch field hockey and basketball at the same time. But yeah, I mean, Iowa's done a great job. Lisa Salucci's done a great job of turning this around a little bit. Obviously, a disappointing season last year, going 9-9, but some new faces into the program this year. And to go 14-5, I thought was really impressive to see them kind of turn it around this year. And certainly a team that I think can beat Duke. And we'll see if they can knock off North Carolina. That's going to be a really tough one, but certainly one that if Iowa plays at their top level, they're certainly capable of making that a 4-quarter game. So really excited to see soccer and field hockey again. I mean, like you said, teams that don't necessarily get the publicity of a women's basketball team, but two programs that have been really solid over the last few years. And field hockey, obviously a little bit more history than soccer, but two programs that are going to try to make some noise in the postseason.
No, absolutely. And that's what I love about the Hawkeye Report, Kyle, is that, the basketball, men's basketball, women's basketball, football, but you get in-depth stuff with wrestling and what Tanner does, and then obviously the other sports, but your baseball and field hockey, soccer, all that kind of stuff. So when they say complete coverage at the Hawkeye Report, they mean it. So that's my little plug. That's as nice as I'm ever going to be to Tom Caker. But we all know, we've said it a million times, Kyle is the machine, the motor that runs the place. Tom's just the ugly face that drives the car, and that's the sad part, unfortunately. So, Kyle, I appreciate your time. I know you got to run. You got to head over to soccer and all those kind of things. So, check out Kyle. What's your Twitter before we let you go?
At Huesmann Kyle on Twitter is mine. Very, very simple. Nothing crazy with my Twitter handle. Just at Huesmann Kyle on Twitter, and then obviously at HawkeyeReport.com. We'll have, like I said, plenty of stuff this week with men's basketball, with football going to USC, and then all the other stuff. Wrestling season's underway, and as I said, with soccer and field hockey. So. Plenty to keep up with. Rather than going to the site and looking at those top pages, you might have to click the news tab and check some of the other stories, because there's going to be a lot up this week with everything that's going on.
And get ready and get used to seeing this guy's face, because it's that time of year with everything going on that we're going to see a lot of. And you know what? The beauty thing is Iowa women's basketball, and we knew it when we did the shows at Carver, and the men's show did great, but the women's show did. I mean, women's basketball in Iowa is just a different beast. It's an awesome thing. So that means we get to see a lot more Kyle Huesmann, which is a good thing. So, all right, my friend, I appreciate you. We'll catch up again real soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right. That is Kyle Huesmann from the Hawkeye Report talking Iowa women's basketball. It's a big night of basketball. Coming up later in the show, we'll have Jim Mattson to break down Illinois and Texas Tech, the men's game. I'm a top 10 showdown tonight. We'll also talk a little football with our good friend Jim Mattson coming up later in the show. That'll be in hour number 2. But coming up after the break, we have a crazy story to talk to you about and tell you about. The Riverdale volleyball team heading to state. And it's not just the fact that they're going to state semifinals, but the way they've done it is pretty remarkable. Their sectional championship on Thursday, losing their head coach and their assistant coach, and then having them out for this game as well on Monday, and for the Rams too. to punch that ticket. We got a trio of standouts from Riverdale to talk all about it right after this. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. We always mention this time of year is fun because there's so much postseason sports action on both sides of the river, and we give so much love to football here on the show that we have to remember the other sports. Last week we talked a little soccer. Just yesterday we had the Assumption state champion volleyball team on the show. Hoping to have North Scott coming up later this week as well. But last night the ladies in Illinois took center stage, super sectionals, and in 2A it was Riverdale in a thrilling 3-game victory, knocking off Peoria Notre Dame to punch their ticket. Chicago Christian to punch their ticket to the state semifinals. And joining me now to talk all about it, a pair of Riverdale standouts getting out of class to do this. So first and foremost, you're welcome. From left to right, Cameron Kruger and Kennedy Willemkins joining me right now. Ladies, first and foremost, congratulations. Cameron, I'll start with you. To be heading to state this morning, has it sunk in as you're going back to school and having to go to all these classes and stuff like that?
I don't think it has sunk in yet. I'm in a lot of pain from the game last night, so that's telling, but it's still really shocking to be here.
No, it's got to be a lot of fun. Kennedy, talk about just the emotions of last night. We're going to talk in a minute about how you guys got there and the crazy 5 days it's been for you guys. But just to know, waking up this morning, did you think it was a dream, or did it set in? Has it set in?
It has not. I think it'll sink in when we get there on Thursday, but it's just been so surreal. I mean, I would have never expected to come this far. I mean, that's not like having a lot of confidence, but like, it's just crazy. I mean, our school hasn't done it since 2012, so I guess it's just a really special situation, especially with me being a senior and her.
No, it's got to be awesome as your senior year. And it's been a great season. 26, 10-1. I think I saw 9-2 in conference. So it's not like you guys are bad. So you expect to do well, but state is really, really cool. It's been weird. I want to go back to the sectionals because you guys hosted Peoria Notre Dame. Cameron, you lost not just your head coach, but your assistant coach during the match. Can you explain to me what the heck happened with that match and the craziness, not on the floor, but maybe on the sidelines a little bit as well?
I think a lot of us are still a little clueless as to what happened.
I don't know what happened.
It all happened very fast, and I think that the only thing I can really remember and that I know about is the crowd and just, I don't know, seeing so many people there for us. And I don't know, it was so loud and my ears were ringing, and it was a bittersweet moment because obviously we didn't want to see our coaches leave, but to see our crowd be there for us in that moment was really cool.
Kennedy, kind of talk about it, because what we're referencing is the fact that, and another person's in.
Here's Kaylee.
Well, where have you been, young lady?
Home.
All right, squeeze all together. So you guys got to introduce her for me, because I just put my little text away. But it's Kaylee Hungate. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Look at that. Kaylee joining in on the fun here. You love it when people pop in on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Girls, explain to her what this is when we get done, okay? So that she understands what's going on. But I was talking, Kennedy, because you lost your assistant coach and your head coach. Both were ejected from the sectional game. What goes through your guys' head? Are you playing for them? Are you like, oh no, what are we going to do? They're gone? Like, because there's a little A, little B. Like, those are your leaders, but two, now you're inspired to play for them.
I mean, I think we kind of all got in our heads a little bit because it's prone to happen when our head coach and assistant coach get thrown out. But I think also part of us are just like, we're doing this for them and we're doing this for each other and we're here for a reason. So we might as well just keep going and win.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you guys do in 3 games in thrilling fashion. And Kaylee, will kind of go to you to win that sectional and to do it in the fashion that you did. What was the vibes and the feeling afterwards? And you got to feel you have a ton of momentum heading into the super sectionals last night.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, we ran into the locker room, I remember Amy was just standing there and we all kind of just attacked her.
Very emotional.
It was really emotional.
We'll go back to you, Cameron. What do you say to Coach? What did she say to you? Does it even matter at that point? Is it just because I've covered high school sports for 25 years? I'm sure there's screaming for about 5 minutes, and then what's the message? I guess back and forth. I'm sure she's proud of you guys, and you're happy to do it for her. Kind of talk about the message after the sectional game.
I'm not so sure that a lot of English was spoken when we got back to the locker room. I think it was mostly like screaming and just happiness, some tears, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the message was just that, like, we had nothing to lose. We definitely didn't expect to make it this far. So to be there, like, standing there with the sectional title was really awesome. And I think that the message from Coach was just keep going, like, don't let up now, because we obviously didn't think we were going to make it this far, but we just have to keep going. We can't let up. So, yeah.
Did you ladies know, Kennedy, that the ejection from one game meant that you would be playing in the biggest match of your lives without either your head coach or your assistant coach? When did you find out that not only was she gone Thursday, but you guys had to do what you ladies did last night without your head coach and your assistant coach?
I think we found out, was it after the game of the sectional game? And kind of threw me off a little bit because I'm like, this is like one of the first games we played without a head coach. And we've been with her for so long now. It was kind of something different. But I had trust in Gracie and I had trust in my teammates, so I knew it would be fine.
Kaylee, kind of talk about that trust. It was Gracie Baldwin, the freshman coach. Is that right?
Yeah.
So her first varsity coaching experience as a head coach is in the state super sectionals.
Yeah.
What's the preparation leading up to that? And if I'm her, I never coach another game again, and I walk out being 1-0 and winning a super sectional championship. I stay perfect. But what was the preparation leading up? Because it had to be easier knowing that, like, you know, Thursday just happened in the moment and they were gone, you could prepare a little more? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think she was really anxious at first, but then we had a few practices to get in, and it was fine. I mean, she's always there. She's always with us, and she's coached us basically since we were in middle school, like during club and stuff. So we're pretty comfortable with her, and we were comfortable with her already.
Yeah, absolutely. Cameron, let's talk about last night. I mean, I feel like we're talking too much Thursday. Y'all are super sectional champs. To be on that big stage and to get set one, how important was that? Because I know it goes 3, but maybe and just getting comfortable and getting some confidence. How important was it to come out to a good start and win game 1 and get some momentum early on?
I think that winning the first set was what really like made us comfortable enough to keep going and be able to win that third set, because I mean, obviously you start out strong, you feel more comfortable and you're ready to keep going, but I think that's been something that's been really important for us in postseason, is being able to come out strong, and it just gives you enough confidence to have that first set done, and you kind of have something to fall back on, which is what we did last night. But so yeah, I don't know. I think it was really important to have that and to boost our confidence a little bit.
Kennedy, you guys, we won't talk about set 2. We'll forget about set 2. But you go to set 3.
Yeah,
that never even happened. Go to set 3, and obviously there's high tense moments, all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable were you guys in game 3, set 3, and then that winning point when you guys win it and you're going to state? What was that emotion like?
I mean, I think we had a little pressure on us just from the previous set before that, but I had confidence in my teammates and they had confidence in themselves. And the game-winning point, I mean, it was from the freshman on our team. I mean, I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of all of them. It's just a crazy experience, especially the third set. And, like, after going from that huge win from the first one, we could have easily just given up, but we fought through it.
No, absolutely. Where was Coach during the game? Was she was Kaylee, was she around? Was she in the locker room? Was she like waiting out in the bus? Like what was the Don't get her in trouble, but
no, she wasn't at Mendota. I think she was here, but there were some people that said she was at a church parade.
Well, she should have been. And it worked. That's the biggest assist you can get, is from the big guy upstairs. When did you guys see her, Kaylee? And then what was that like to talk to your head coach? We
saw her.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we saw her getting off the bus. Like when we got back to the school, she was standing outside with a few other people. And I remember I saw her like jumping around and her hands were like on her face. And I thought she was crying, but we got off the bus and we just cheered. Like we just grouped up and we just celebrated.
No, absolutely. You have a lot to celebrate. We're chatting with 3 members from the Riverdale Volleyball team who's had the craziest 5 days. There should be a mini series written and shot on the last 5 days. But that's the beauty part, is it's not done yet. You guys can continue to get to practice this week and get ready, and we'll move to that because Cameron, how easy is it going to be to flip the page? I mean, eventually Monday goes away. You talk to a goofy guy in the morning on Tuesday that you don't even know what you're doing. You go to practice today. How quickly do you have to turn the page? Because, you know, this run isn't done. You get to play more volleyball in the biggest stage in the state coming up on Friday.
It's a little bit scary to think about that. And especially with this weekend being our last time playing, with us being seniors. Yeah. But it's exciting, and I think we're ready to flip the page, and we've prepared all season for it. I don't think that we need to stress about it too much, and I think that we need to come out ready to play our last couple of games, and now we know that we have 2 more games no matter what, so that's made it a little bit better. It's kind of nerve-wracking when you don't know if it could be your last game, so I think that flipping the page is going to be a little bit easier knowing that we've come this far and there's really nothing for us to lose.
Kennedy, have you even started thinking about Bloomington Central Catholic? Have you heard anything? What do you know? All that kind of stuff.
I actually watched film on them yesterday on the bus ride home.
There you go.
And
That's good.
they'll be a pretty good team. It's good competition, but also they can't underestimate us. I feel like we've kind of been seen as the underdog all season and kind of took it personally, and look where it's gotten us.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Kaylee, how do you guys, enjoy the weekend more than anything? Because you're in a position that there's a lot of teams around the state would love to be in. How do you take a second? I know it's business-like, and Kennedy's nuts over there already watching film on the way back on the bus and stuff, and that's a beautiful thing. But do you guys take a second to remember that you guys are awfully blessed, and there's a lot of young ladies that would be loving to be in your position right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to take it slow. We're going to kind of enjoy ourselves throughout the week. Like, I think tomorrow we're going to dye our hair pink.
Okay, there you go.
Just doing little things with the team to take the stress off, and then, I don't know, just enjoy it together. I mean, we only have so many days left together, so might as well not be super anxious over it, and just we can prepare as much as we can, but it's just going to come down to the end.
Cameron, can you tell me what school's been like this morning? Are teachers being nicer to you? They should be. Like, if you don't have an assignment in it, it's okay, right? Like, if you're like, hey, Cameron, where's your history homework? And you're like, I was going to state last night. Like, they understand, right?
Yes. We've only been to one class today, so we're still waiting to see, of course. Luckily, not in a history class right now, so that's awesome.
Hey, and I'm going to make this interview go as long as we can. I'm going to try to get you out of class as long as possible. Don't you shake your head, Kaylee. You just showed up to school. You know what I mean?
I don't want to come back, so.
Hey, tell me, before I let you guys go, I love hearing these kind of things. I'm going to ask you guys some fun questions about the team. Kennedy, you mentioned pink hair. I don't know if that's superstitious. It's probably just a fashion statement or whatever. But are there any superstitions to this team? Is there anything that you guys have to do or need to do, or music-wise or anything? And Cameron knows there's something because she's already laughing.
Well, we pray before every game.
That's not superstition. That's good.
Yeah.
I just have a lot of personal superstitions.
Me too.
Okay, so what's your personal ones? What's your personal ones, Kennedy?
I haven't washed my knee pads since we won regionals.
Where are they at?
My bag.
Oh, where's your bag at?
My car right now.
Oh.
And also, one of my shoelaces is borderline about to rip, but I don't want to change it.
Oh, jeez. Cameron, what about you? What kind of stuff are you doing?
I have not worn a different hairstyle the entire season, so that's a big one. But
okay.
Also have not washed my knee pads. It's kind of disgusting. But...
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Like, not kinda.
Well, also, it's hard to. We don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure your parents would have no problems in washing your knee pads. I don't think it's something that. But
we promise it's just since regionals.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's a plus. Any superstitions for you, Kaylee?
I've been wearing the same hairstyle since regionals. But that's about it. I mean, my knee pads are washed. So.
That's good for you. I've been wearing the same hairstyle for years as well. It's called balding. It's or receding hairline, I think is what they call it. But it hasn't won me any state sectionals or super sectionals. How do you guys celebrate? Is there a team meal or a team place to go? I ask football teams all the time, like, hey, when they win, they lose on Friday nights, they go to wherever. I think your football team told me McDonald's, which was really sad that like McDonald's is where they went to. But what was that? Kennedy, did you get kicked out of McDonald's?
Oh, they got kicked out of McDonald's.
Oh, okay, they got kicked out. Okay, don't rat out the football team. Come on. Where do you ladies go to celebrate food-wise, something like that, as a team?
I don't think we really do.
Well, last night we didn't even get food on the bus ride home. We tried.
Yeah, they refused.
All right. Do I need to talk to is it Coach Derek's? I mean, he's the athletic director, right?
Yeah.
His football players, I'm sure, got food, right?
And a charter bus.
I'll be texting Guy Derricks right after this. He's going to catch a piece of my mind. There's not much left when it comes to those kind of things at all. Okay, quickly, I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Kennedy, if you could have dinner with one person in this world, dead or alive, whomever you want, who would it be and why?
Harper Murray from the Nebraska volleyball team, because she's just a role model, and I love watching her. And she's just a good person overall, so probably her.
I love it. Cameron, same question to you.
I'm going to keep on the Nebraska train and go with Lainey Choboy. She's hilarious, and I love her energy, and she's someone I look up to as a libero, so I don't know. Anyone from Nebraska?
I look over to right away. Kaylee started thinking. She was like, "Oh, good." Like I could see she was looking up, trying to think.
Does it have to be like an athlete?
You could
or is
it could be
anyone?
whoever. It could be
I pick
dead
Harry
or
Styles.
alive. What's that?
Harry Styles.
What'd she say?
Harry Styles.
Harry
Styles.
Okay, there you go. That all works. Hey, we've had people say Jesus on the show, which is a very good answer as well. Now, makes you three feel bad that you didn't pick, Jesus. But hey, no, that's this has been fun. And it wasn't that bad, was it? The first two that were here on time, they're a little nervous. This was a lot of fun. So get back to class, study, tell your coaches to behave themselves. Although I think they did. I think it was a lot of big misunderstanding, which is unfortunate as well. So, and I guarantee you, I'll be texting Coach Derricks right now. He's going to love to see this. He's going to love watching this, ladies. So best of luck. Keep winning games. Keep shocking the world. Win a state championship. We'll talk to you guys again next week. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you.
get back to class. I appreciate you guys. That is a trio of Riverdale volleyball standouts joining us here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was funny because they got on here and they were like, a little nervous, and there was no nerves there. If they're playing volleyball like they're doing interviews, they're going to do just great coming up this weekend. Again, they get Bloomington Central Catholic. I think it's a 1:30 start on Friday afternoon. We wish Riverdale the best of luck. It's been a crazy season, but especially postseason out in Port Byron. We got much more to get to on the show. Coming up after the break, we'll go back to the football gridiron. Monmouth Roseville's in the quarterfinals. Their head coach, Jeremy Adolphson, will join us right after this. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. There are 3 teams from our viewing area. I like to say our viewing area. It's silly because YouTube is everywhere, but in our Quad City, my old TV viewing area, still alive in the postseason. In 4A, Geneseo still alive. In 1A, Anawan Weathersfield still alive. And in 3A, Monmouth Roseville still alive, heading to the quarterfinals. And we're joined now by their head coach, Jeremy Adolphson. And coach, first and foremost, I took a beating earlier this year, rightfully so. I picked against you, and I never will do it again. Even this week, you'll beat Richmond Burton by 49 points is my prediction. But those other knuckleheads, I mean, how dare Greg and Ty and Mitch all turn their back on you? I want to apologize on their behalf. I'm here for you. I got your back, Coach.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we actually a couple of the kids today at film were like, how'd they all pick against us? I said, well, like, if you took a poll across the state, like, I don't think there'd have been too many picking us, but I did mention you straight up, and then one of them's like, yeah, didn't he like say we're gonna win the state title or something? I was like,
hey, Coach, I'm not just talk. I'm wearing the shirt and everything today, baby.
Oh,
like it's all Monmouth Roseville all the time, back to back. I'm ready to rock. So for this segment only, I'll zip it up so my fat gut doesn't hang out too much. But I'm all about Monmouth Roseville. Coach, you mentioned it, and to be honest, I don't blame like Todd. I mean, you said it. You talk around the state. That's a really good football team to go to their place and get a victory. What does it mean to yourself, this program? Because I mean, there were a lot of doubters, and you guys came home with a victory.
Yeah, they're a fantastic team. They come from a super tough conference, and they went undefeated in it, and they kind of only played one game that was even reasonably close on their path there. But we knew their top end talent was just kids that we haven't seen before as far as speed and size put together, and then the sheer volume of players that they have. But I mean, our kids went at it. We thought we had a good plan, and we told them, we don't lie to them. Let them know, like, it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough one to win, but there's a path to victory here that we think it's gonna be very tough to stop them because their speed and their athleticism and big playability. But we kind of thought we were pretty tough to stop ourselves, and stopping us maybe is a little bit more frustrating because it's kind of a slow and painful deal getting down the field. It's not necessarily just one shot and you think, oh man, we missed a tackle. That was our problem. It's kind of repetitive and chewing up the clock. And the kids did a great job. They came out, they scored on their first drive, but nothing really big working down the field. We actually had them on 4th down and 4th and 7 and 3rd and relatively long once or twice there. And then we popped a big one right back at them. And you just kind of felt, even on the other side, it just kind of felt like even their side was kind of like, oh no, like, what's going on here? And we thought maybe if we got into a dogfight with them, that maybe they might panic a little bit and feel like we got to go try to beat these guys by 30 on the next drive. And then that makes things really tough when you're trying to do that. So the kids they weren't afraid. They went out, they executed, they played their tails off. It was really a crazy game because every single snap, you're just kind of like, I hope they don't score, because you knew they could on every snap. And then there's a time we're up a couple scores and almost went up 3 scores. And it was just a crazy game back and forth. The kids persevered. They hung on to win. And even when things started rolling against us in the 4th quarter, they come up with a 5-minute drive to close out the game and to finish it off on offense. So, I just couldn't be more proud of them. I've been proud of a lot of teams in my time, and this definitely ranks right up there with those.
It was really cool to see. Coach, I think in order to win a game maybe you're not supposed to, or to upset a team, let's put it that way, to be the underdogs, you have to get off to a good start. How important was that? Because you can't fall behind 14-0 when you're on the road at Bloomington Central Catholic. Talk about the start. And also with that, the numbers are one thing, but the belief's another thing. To go out there, have a good start, score early, and kind of prove that you belong on the same field with this team had to be important for your program.
100%. We were we're the visitors. Obviously, we're calling the coin toss, and talked to my quarterback Clay Castillo. I said, same deal. Let's win the coin toss. Let's defer. I want the ball in the second half. Whether we're up a score, we're tied, or down a score, like, I want that ball in the second half. And I want to know at the end of the first half that we're getting it in the second half. So that may kind of change how you do things. And they ended up winning the toss and took the ball. And I just kind of turned to our captains walking off, and a couple of them just said, hey, you take the ball in a game like this because you think you're going to drill the other team. Like, you think you can get 40 in the first half and finish this thing off. And I said, so it's a win. It's a loss on the coin toss, but it's a win for us. We got what we want. And that first drive, we popped the big one, Elijah Knoll, who's, he had probably 15 carries all season. He was Nick Houston's backup at running back. So not a lot of work for him during the year. But it played starter on defense for us all year as our kicker. He pops a 68-yarder on a counter. We ran the counter well over 100 times this year, but we always run it one way. Well, this is our first time running it back the other way with Elijah, and he pops it for a touchdown. And we get the 2-point conversion. It's tied 8-8. And I think right then our kids knew, like, we're here. We're ready to play. And then we go out and we got to stop immediately on defense. Great job. I think it was 3 and out, made them punt. And then went down and scored ourselves. And it just – our guys kept coming off the field, and you could just tell like they were excited but confident. It wasn't like, oh my God, we're doing this. It was more like, yep, it's another one of these games that we've been playing all season long. And the guys across from us maybe just run a little faster and a little bigger than we're used to. But no, the kids they were steady all week, and it was awesome. And then of course, the payoff at the end is getting to see their faces when you see all the the excitement, the high fives, the dumping water on me when it's cold out, and just some tears of joy. Just like, hey, we get in the week, we did it. How many guys in those once we closed it out, we're just taking a knee and finishing. Like, how many guys were running up and like, coach, like, we did it, man. Like, just coming up and the big hugs, and it was really cool atmosphere. We're on the road, but man, we had a lot of support, and it took us a while to clear the field afterwards. It was just a lot of people enjoyed themselves that day, and the support's been awesome. But the kids are second to none for sure.
Jeremy Adolphson, the head coach at Monmouth Roseville, joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, if you mentioned you ran the counter one way all year and you ran it the other way and it goes for 68 yards, are we going to run it again? Like, that's my first question. I mean, maybe mix it in a little bit more.
Yeah, we had it in the week before, didn't run it for the playoff game. But yeah, I think we ran it 3 times. And then the next time we ran it, he got tripped up, or else he was going for about 30. He got 8 yards on that one. He got tripped up by the last guy, could have got him. And honestly, it was it's actually kind of funny because our right side of our line knows that we favor the left side of our line like significantly. Like they know it. They bring it up, and now they're talking a lot about it because we started running to the right a lot more recently. And we had an injury with one of our studs who missed the Rock Ridge game, and so we moved our right side guard to left guard. Well, he did a great job there. And so we're like, well, shoot, he can do the stuff that he does. So we started, well, maybe we can run a few more of these things. And so then that was like kind of like a friendly battle between the right side and the left side. The right side gets pretty fired up when we're pounding the way over there a little bit. So, it's just been great. The kids, we put a few tweaks into our offense, no shotgun 5 wide or anything, but tweaked it up a little bit the last couple of weeks. And the kids have been great responding to that. And, it's just kind of been that way all year. I mean, we really haven't been a healthy full team at all this year. I think one game we played with everybody. It's just been able to kind of step up, next man up, and finding a way to get it done. I mean, now we're starting 2 freshmen on defense in the playoffs. We started one all season long, but another one, his first start ever is in a playoff game, round 1. So they found a way to step up and make it happen. And your leaders are leading us, but man, those supporting cast guys have been nothing but spectacular down the stretch here.
Coach, you mentioned second half. You get up 29-15, almost get up 3 scores, and then it gets close, it gets tight, and luckily you don't have any hair to get gray. Maybe the beard a little bit, but talk about that grind, because it was a great start and things are going well. But you knew at their place, Bloomington Central Catholic, this was going to be a dogfight till the end. Talk about that second half, and then your guys just making plays at the end of the game. And you mentioned got the ball back after a missed extra point, up 1, and you never give the ball back. Talk about taking their best punch in the second half and withstanding and coming away with a victory.
Yeah, it's 22-15 and a half. We come down and score to start the second half and get the lead, get 2 touchdown lead, which is awesome. We're just inches away from a pick 6 right after that, and then we ended up stopping them. Had the ball up 2 scores, and drove it, and then got stopped for the first time. Got stopped on it was a 4th and 2 or 3, and we got 1.5. And then they ended up scoring. The Poe kid, who's amazing, finally got us. He made like 5 guys miss a tackle and ended up going for a 40-yard touchdown, which we knew at some point probably was going to have to happen, and it did. And then they went for an onside kick right then, which was a ton of time. I mean, a quarter left, but I think they were also feeling like we may not stop them. So let's try to get the ball here, because if they give it to us at the 25, we just take longer to do what we're doing, you know.
Yeah.
So they onside kick it, we get it, and then move it, and end up getting stopped on a 4th and 2, I think it was, and then they're moving a little bit, and we make a couple big plays, and they get us with a reverse, and I mean, just got us. And, you know, and we had 3 guys in the area, but just couldn't get off the guy that was kind of blocking them to the correct side, and he ends up taking them for a touchdown. And 5 minutes left, and they decide to kick the extra point. And their kid, I think on the season, 54 or 60. I mean, he's as automatic as it gets. And you know, we almost blocked the one before that, and then this one, Nick Houston came right down the middle. The kid pulled a little bit to the left, hits off the upright, bounces out. Like I said, my offensive coordinator, Dan Morrison, was confident that if the ball was kicked straight, it was blocked. He's like, there's no way Nick wouldn't have blocked. His entire body was right in front of him. He wasn't diving. He was jumping with everything in front of him. But so they missed that. And so immediately you go from disappointment, like, oh no. And I still thought, like, 5 minutes left, like, we'll go score. Like, can we score and then not let them score is kind of my thought. Well, then, you know, we have the lead, and they onside kick again. One of our freshmen, the kid has been starting all year for us, he ends up recovering it. It was a great onside kick. Holy smokes, on the turf, it got up in the air. He gets to it, and then we go and get, I think it was 4 first downs after that to chew up the rest of the clock, and never did see a 4th down that last drive. Like, just came out with some resolve and just kind of pounded away and got pretty good chunks of yardage each and every time. And then we're smart enough to not try to score at the end. You know, we're yelling, I'm like, hey, get the first down, don't score. Get the first down, don't score. Because if you score, then they got a chance still. They can come back and maybe tie it up. But it was fantastic, and to close it out that way with that kind of confidence, because as I told them, a lot of teams in that situation would go out there, go 3 and out, or turn it over or something, you know, and then the other team's going to score again, and you're gonna talk about what might have been, you know, for the rest of your life. So to go out and to close the game out, running the football was great. We did throw a huge pass. Demo, or up the court, he called a pass actually on 2nd and 8. As soon as we got the ball, first play was for 2 yards. Calls a pass play, we get 19 yards, gets us down inside the 30, and then from that point on, you know, 3 more first downs, I guess, and that was it.
It was probably a fun ride home. You mentioned on the field and the high fives, the hugs, all that kind of stuff. Tell me about that bus ride. I know you got the heroes treatment when you get back to Monmouth, but tell me about just those guys. And that's, I know they'll remember games, and the stories you just told is what they'll tell grandkids a long time from now, but they'll also tell about the bus rides and those kind of things. That's what I think is great about high school sports. That's a fun bus ride back, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. You know, we had a charter bus there. I think we had 51 riders on the way there, cheerleaders, managers, coaches. And on the way home, I think we had 46 or 47. You know, like, I don't think anybody was wanting to ride home with their parents like you might if things didn't go so well. They wanted to be together, and they're knuckleheads back there, and had a good time with it. And I think just wanting to be together, and just the celebration afterwards, and the hugs, and, you know, and what's cool now is they give you a plaque when you win. Now it's the first year they did that. You used to only get a quarterfinal plaque when you lost the quarterfinal. Well, now you win a quarterfinal plaque. So you got the plaque there, and it was so much fun. And of course, you know, it's raining. We're pulling back into Monmouth, and the police pick us up. Fire department picks us up, brings us back into town. On the way out of town that morning, I mean, I am not exaggerating, over 300 people in the streets between Sunny Lane Field and head down to town on the north side there. Just, you know, on a Saturday morning, like, people had to get up and do this. Like, sometimes we do it on Friday afternoon for a Friday night playoff game, and there's a lot of people there, but they're getting out of work during that time. They have to come outside. You know, this is people showing up to be there and give support. And our side of the bleachers were full, and they were loud, and they were into it. It's just the whole community has been really great behind us. Special group of kids, special group of parents, you know, and it's just been a heck of a ride. And the last thing we told them before the practice ended on Friday was, like, you know, all I want is to get back here. I want one more week, because the hardest part of the end sometimes isn't just losing. It's like, what do you do on Monday? And, like, your brain starts. I remember, you know, a year ago we lost and didn't have school on Monday. It was the longest day of my life, because I was still down. Like, I couldn't get out of it, you know, and it's just awesome to know you've got that another week coming back at you. The kids walked in today, just film and walk through, you know, kind of taking it easier on the bodies because they're pretty beat up. And but just as much or more energy walking in on a Monday as they've had all year. Now, maybe because they knew we weren't going outside to hit anybody or anything afterwards, but yeah, I think they understand, what's going on. I mean, basketball practice started today, and almost our entire basketball team's on the football team. So, they're thinking about like, hey, this is pretty special. We're going to practice under the lights at the field because it's too dark to get your practice in. There's all these things you get to experience now that some people go their entire careers and never see it.
No, it's an awesome thing. Jeremy Adolphson from Monmouth Roseville joining me right now. Coach, let's move on. You guys have moved on. I know that, and prepared. And it's the resume. Bloomington Central Catholic was amazing. And here's your reward. Here's Richmond Burton, number 1 ranked, as good as they get, all that kind of stuff. What do you know about them? What do you see about them? And I think in the same breath about yourselves, confidence has to be there. I mean, you see it, you do it, you believe it, you get to do it again. Kind of talk about Richmond Burton and then, what you guys know about yourself heading into next week.
Right. Yeah. Richmond Burton's, they're awesome. I mean, number 1 overall seed, undefeated in a predominantly 4A, 5A conference, former 4A state champ, 4A perennial quarterfinal, semifinal, runner-up type team, year in and year out, really for about the last 20 years. This is the first year dropping down into 3A, and watching them on film, they're similar to us as far as like what they want to do. They're physical, tough kids. They've got definitely got a lot of quickness. They keep it under center. Neither team's going to be in the shotgun, which might be like one of the few times that ever happens between 2 high school teams now. Don't throw it a lot, but when they do, they got some guys they can get it to. Big, tall, 6'6" athletic receiver and 6'4" athletic tight end. And they kind of got a little bit of everything on the offensive side. So like they're just as scary to stop as Bloomington Central Catholic was. It's just not the high profile, flashy stuff that we just seen from them. It's more like us. Like they just pound away at you, multiple points of attack, multiple backs, and they're going to get you at some point for a big one, but they're just really good at getting 3 to 4 yards until they do. And then defensively, real aggressive, play a defense very similar to what Geneseo does with Coach Furlong. There's a connection in there somewhere between their defenses from his time up there at Cary Grove, but a little bit unique as far as what they do there, but play a lot of really quick, aggressive, tough kids who I just assume are wrestlers. They got a great wrestling program up there, but that's what they kind of look like. So it'll be a battle. It'll be a fast game. So I don't think either team really wants to throw it much. Both teams kind of can when they do, but it's going to be hard fought. It's going to be physical. I mean, if you love old school, smash mouth, tough football, like Richmond's the place to be coming up this Saturday. But as far as our guys, they haven't been scared of anybody or any moment so far. And so that's what you want. Sometimes, you're not scared until you get into that really big moment and things start to get a little tight on you. What our guys have done time and time again is in the biggest moments, they go out and they execute. I talked about the big pass on the last drive. If we miss that thing and it's 3rd and 8, now we're staring down maybe having to give the ball back, But instead, Clay Castile goes out like the other 29 times he's attempted to pass this year, and he drills it. He's 20 for 30 on the year, puts it to Andrew Way, who moved to tight end 3 weeks ago after missing the first half of the season, and he makes the catch and secures it, and just guys just doing what they do. I mean, Nick Houston on Saturday, 19 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 31 carries, 121 yards. Our best guys do not shy away from the biggest moments, and that's what you need in these situations. Because in the end, you're going to win because of your studs. Like your other guys are playing their tails off. That's how you get there with a complete team. But you need your most talented, best football players to go out and play their best football in the biggest moments. And we're pretty dang lucky that we got a lot of guys that do that on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, I hope you got Nick like a ice bath or an extra burger or something after the game. He deserves it. Coach, before I let you go, that community is pretty special, and that's the cool part. Yesterday we had Ryan Hetzler from Wilton on, and they're going back to the Dome for the 2nd straight year, and he talked about the community, and you've already mentioned it several times. Do you make sure the kids realize what they're doing at this point? I know you're focused. I know there's a game at hand. You don't want them to listen too much to the fans, the dumb media like myself, although I'm wearing the shirt. I got you guys. I got your back.
Yep, absolutely.
But do you make sure they enjoy this? This is high school sports and community stuff at its finest. Do you make sure they take the time to realize that all that hard work in the summertime is why you're paying off and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, without a doubt. We talk about that, the home playoff game. Over the years when we've had some success, there's going to be a lot of excitement here. The atmosphere is going to be awesome, but understand that you guys did this. Like, this isn't something lucky that just dropped into your lap. Like, if we're 3-6 and struggling and fumbling the ball and can't tackle anybody, your parents can come watch it. They love you, and other people come watch. They like football, but you're not going to get those extra 300, 400, 500 fans that are showing up for games that are big, and playoff games, and the people that are, listening on the radio and watching the streams of the games and making the trip, Bloomington Central Catholic and those types of things. But we definitely try to make sure they understand that, soak in all of this stuff. And I think they do. I mean, I think a lot of the emotion after the game was almost more like the crowd, like as the parents are coming down, and, there's parents wanting to get pictures with other kids there, just because it's my kid's buddy, who's been coming to my house since he was 3 years old. And here they are, here's what they've done now together as these, young adults. And it's a really special group with a really supportive group of parents. And the biggest thing I think I've said, and this has been for multiple years, but just so inclusive of everybody, just whether it's, I'm talking about our freshmen that are starting, like those kids are never looked down upon. It's never like, what the heck is this kid doing? Why aren't we playing so-and-so both ways instead of starting this freshman one way? Our kids they've never been like that. And if anything, they kind of let those guys, they put some pressure on, like, hey, we need you, man. Like, you need to get your butt here and pay attention to what's going on, because, this isn't little kid stuff anymore. This is big stuff. And for the seniors, I always tell them, like, be selfish, man. This is it. If somebody else isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, don't let them screw it up for you. Go and our group's been really good. They're like I said, they're great with each other, but they spend almost all their time with each other outside of football, which makes it really easy. And I think it makes it more special when you accomplish great things, because, man, there's no place they'd rather be. I got a text from a parent with a picture of them after they dumped the water on me, and there's pictures of all these faces. He's like, these kids are on the time of their lives. They don't even know it. It's awesome.
No, it's awesome to see. Coach, I'll say this. I always tell my boys, it's not about the bad things in life that happen to you. It's how you respond to them. And you guys went to Rock Ridge and things didn't go your way. And I was just saying to somebody the other day, look at what they've done since that. I mean, that could have been a turning point and a downwell slide. And you go out and you blow out two teams that are in the playoffs. And then you go and beat Bloomington Central Catholic. And I think that says a lot about your staff besides Jamie Smith. And it says a lot about your kids as well, especially Keegan Smith. But I love watching it. I think it's fantastic. I plan on talking to you again next week as we get ready for another football game. Go get ready. Go be prepared. I know that entire community will join you in as well. And best of luck, my friend. We'll talk to you again real soon.
We appreciate it, Matt. We appreciate all the support, all the picks, and the T-shirt today as well. Thank you very much.
I love it. No, thank you for the T-shirt. I love T-shirts. So, Coach, be good. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. That is Jeremy Adolphson, head coach at Monmouth Roseville. They did it last week. They went down to Bloomington Central Catholic, and when a lot of people said they couldn't do it, they came back with a victory, and now they get another big task against Richmond Burton. But you guys can pick against them. I learned my lesson. That ain't happening here. I got the Titans by 1,000,000. So we got more to get to. It's a fantastic time of year. We got more to get to right here on OTA. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. A lot going on in the world of sports. NFL, college football, college basketball is big tonight. We're going to talk about that in a second. All the high school stuff as well. It's one of my favorite months of the year, and it has me a little bit missing those crazy days back in the newsroom. So joining me now to talk all about how crazy life still is my good friend Jim Mattson. And before I keep going, silly me, Jim, I didn't change. See, sometimes you just got to live stuff on the fly. You got to make sure your name's changed underneath and all that fun stuff. But Jim Mattson joining me right now. How crazy is this time for you? You're already working hard, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a busy time. We have 3 local volleyball teams in state. I just heard your interview with the Monmouth coach, and boy, that was an unbelievable Bloomington Central Catholic team they beat. An unbelievable game. So tip of the hat to Monmouth. But high school football playoffs, you know how it is. When one of your local teams lose, it's a little less work. But we got a lot of high school football teams still left, and it's a busy time with college basketball going, and a fun time, but a really, really busy time. But yeah, I really enjoyed that interview. The one thing he said, Matt, that I got the biggest kick out of was they finally give the plaque to the winning team.
Yeah.
And that has always been the most uncomfortable thing, to have these high school football teams bawling their eyes out, and the winning team is celebrating, and the losing team has to go get the plaque. They finally got that right, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Hey, will you happen to be at the you probably weren't, Peoria Notre Dame Riverdale volleyball game last Thursday? Did you hear about that?
I heard about it. We were not there.
I'm assuming probably Corey helped you out maybe a little bit with that as well.
Yeah,
we had the Riverdale girls on because they won on Monday to go to state, and they just won at the super sectional with their freshman coach coaching, because the 2 coaches that were ejected, of course, had to sit in other games. So it's just those kind of stories this time of year. This time of year is too cool already because everybody's writing their own journey, but weird things like that happen make things 10 times better. So obviously, first and foremost, I love the tie. Happy Veterans Day. That is really, really well done. And I didn't even say anything at the start of the show. So again, it takes the professional to come in and class this place up a little bit. A big game tonight down in Champaign with Illinois and Texas Tech. Before we talk about the game itself, what have you seen early from this Illini team? And I think it's a team we haven't seen all of yet, which I think is the intriguing part as well.
Yeah, their size is amazing. I mean, because they are skilled, but then you realize, this is a 7-foot skilled guy and this is a 6'9" skilled guy. So their size stands out to me. Their passing ability stands out to me. And you're right, their depth, because now Tomislav is hurt, and we're just now seeing Stojakovic back in the lineup. So they're just starting to put some of those pieces together, and they're not going to be at full strength again tonight. We haven't seen Petrovic yet, but they are a very skilled and very tall team, and I think it's going to be much tougher tonight. I think Texas Tech's going to get in their grill and get after them. They've been able to play kind of a pretty style of basketball the first 2 games. I mean, 113 points in each of their first 2 games.
Crazy.
It's crazy the numbers they're putting up. But tonight will be the first time they really get punched in the mouth, and we'll see them get tested.
I think it will be a fantastic game. You mentioned health, and it's something that this staff seems to deal with, unfortunately, too often. How are they health-wise? I know Tommy's going to be out probably for a little while. Are we going to see the debut of the Petrovic kid? Talk to me about what we know health-wise.
Yeah, it does not sound like Petrovic. Does not sound like Lee, the freshman, who's got a high ankle sprain, and no Tommy tonight. So, and you're right. The frustrating part is, again, they haven't even had him on the practice court, so they haven't really been able to grow as a team. Really, for the last 6 weeks or so, they've had somebody missing or 2 guys missing. And I know Underwood has always loved that December break when the semester school's out and semester exams are over. I think that's going to be a period of great growth for Illinois because they're actually going to get some practice time with their guys. But in the meantime, they've got, Texas Tech tonight, Alabama next week, Missouri, UConn, the Black Friday. I mean, they're going to be tested maybe at less than full strength over the next month.
It's funny you mentioned that too, Jim, because we're old school, and it used to be like if you missed some practice, you probably knew him from last year. You'll know him later in the season. You'll know him next year. In today's day of college basketball, practice is more important than ever before, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think. Illinois doesn't even know what they have probably in Petrovic. Illinois doesn't even know how Petrovic fits with Boswell. It's just so hard when they arrive late from Europe or they arrive from the transfer portal. And I really think Underwood probably is still very experimental in combinations, what works. I mean, we were so excited to see the two twins together, and we haven't really seen it. The 7-foot twins together. So there's so many combinations and things that Illinois fans want to see. But I'm sure Brad Underwood wants to see, how does this work? How does this work? And you'd ideally want to see that at practice, but they're going to have to do a lot of coaching on the fly, even probably into January.
What does tonight look like? Because you mentioned Texas Tech isn't the other two opponents. They're going to come in there, they're going to defend, they're going to guard, all those kind of things. A really good basketball team. What I know about Texas Tech is they had a secret scrimmage up in Iowa City. I love how they call them secret, but everybody knows all about them. And I think they beat Iowa, but by 6-ish or something like that. Iowa didn't shoot it well, but it's a top 10 team, familiar top 11 team, whatever it is, familiar faces coming back in that when you hear, their head coach and how good he is. It's a really good challenge early on. What do you expect from Texas Tech?
Well, I think they're a lot like Illinois. Illinois uses the phrase everyday guys, work pay, he'll show up, hard work. I think Texas Tech's phrase, and I'm probably butchering it, is, but the toughest team wins. Let's be the tougher team. I mean, they're a toughness team. They're a team that gets after you, gets after the glass, contests every dribble, contests every pass. And Illinois has not seen that. You don't score 113 points with people guarding you. The first two games, they've been able to get the ball down the court and get good shots. They will be tested tonight. People have compared the two players that are playing tonight, Christian Anderson, the guard, and JT Toppin, the forward, a little bit to Braden Smith and Kaufman Wren on Purdue. It's a really good inside-out combo. Might be as good as any Illinois will see all year. I mean, Toppin's a Player of the Year candidate, an All-American, physical, slam-dunking rebounder. So, maybe the two best players on the court are on Texas Tech. But Illinois' depth and size is going to have to try to carry them. But this will be a really, really good test. And I love that it's at the State Farm Center. I know TV is kind of dictating these neutral games, and Alabama will be on a neutral court, and Missouri is always neutral, and the UConn game will be Black Friday neutral. I'm silly. I'd rather play Illinois in Champaign and play them in Columbia than St. Louis. I just love games on campus. So I love that tonight's game's on campus, and the fans who go to State Farm Center get to see it.
Well, and you get that feeling of college basketball, Jim. It's here.
Crowd,
it's ready to go.
Section, yeah.
The good news for Illinois fans watching this that are worried if they're a YouTube subscriber like me and the ESPN nonsense, it is on FS1, so you can watch the game at 7:30. You mentioned that place, that environment, all of those kind of things. I think it's a huge advantage. Not that Texas Tech can't go on the road and win a basketball game, but I think earlier in the season when you're feeling things out, that crowd's going to help you out a little bit. And take me through. I always ask you about the Illini fan base. They haven't moved on completely from football, right? Please tell me they're still invested in both, right?
They're still invested, but there is still, I think, a little malaise over football that it's not going to be as high hopes. But I mean, they played very well versus Rutgers. I assume they'll play well Saturday versus Maryland, and it's fun to go see the team win. And I think people are probably over the great disappointment, but even seeing the college football playoff list come out this week or the rankings and Illinois nowhere to be seen, it's sad.
No, it is, but it is always a basketball area, it seems like, and that fan base loves it as well. Sticking with football a little bit, we talked about it last week. They have winnable games, and they looked good against Rutgers. They get the bye week. Maryland comes in, another very winnable game, and you look down the stretch, and they're all three winnable. Talk to me about Maryland, and it's weird. Like Illinois hasn't been in a situation in November where you can look at a game and go, and I'm not jinxing it, and be like, okay, that should be a victory. That's a good place to be as a program, that you're here in November with a home game going, well, I'm not as excited about it just because I expect them to win it. That's a good place to be.
It is, and you're right. I was really impressed the way they took care of business versus Rutgers. They just dominated the game. They ran the ball very well. Maryland is kind of the modern college football. The coach is out. The players are probably all thinking about the transfer portal, thinking about leaving. I mean, you see this kind of in the NBA where teams check out, or the NFL where teams check out. We don't often see it in college, but I would assume Maryland's kind of checked out, and I would assume that they're coming to town kind of counting the days until they can get their name in the transfer portal or figure out their own future. So you're right. This is a game Illinois should dominate. I think they will. Maybe the Wisconsin and Northwestern games later in the month will be a little bit more of a test, but I like the way Illinois responded. I really admire Altmaier. I think Altmaier came to Champaign as a really quiet kid, but I think he's really become a leader and has kind of embraced, hey guys, we got 3 games together left. We got 2 games together left. We this is it for us. Let's make it special. I think he's really kind of embraced that, the outside noise of maybe even disappointment. I think he just embraces playing with his buddies and trying to win college football games. And again, a far cry from what we have going on with Maryland, where they're all in flux. I think Illinois has really bought into Bielema and the retention, and I think they have fun playing together. I think they're going to play well the rest of the month.
Jim, you look at it too. You mentioned Altmaier. He came up to my dad's golf outing a few years ago with Cole Rusk and played, and he was the starting quarterback, but you didn't know what he was going to be. And I just walked away from him. Like, I talked to him several times throughout the day, and he was one of the nicest young people I've ever met. Very open, just very, very great manners. Great people skills. And I remember since then I've always been rooting for him, but you've watched him develop, and not that I continue to keep in touch with him, but you've seen what you just said. How has he developed from when he got to campus to now? And I think he's a really good football player, was back then, but I think maybe leadership wise, I think that's where he's probably taken the most strides.
Yeah, I think very much so. I mean, I think he's kind of a Southern kid who came here and was excited, but kind of felt a little bit like an outsider joining Illinois, and he's kind of embraced the leadership role now. I go back to the Michigan game last year, the 100th anniversary game. He scored on a quarterback sneak. I think his helmet came off, and he was really pumped up, and I was like, geez, I've never seen that emotion out of him. And really, he's kind of an emotional leader now. He's not a taunter or a trash talker, but I think he's pretty fiery, more fiery than you think, and that wasn't the case when he first got there. But again, that's the nature of college sports. So many outsiders are joining programs. It takes a little while for those guys to build up, and he's kind of a quiet leader, but I think he leads by example, and I really think he's become how many 3-year starting quarterbacks are you going to have anymore in college football? Probably pretty rare. So, Illinois fans, you got a chance to cheer for him on Saturday and then senior day, and, get out there and cheer for all these seniors, because a lot of them have stuck through thick and thin with Illinois football, and that's pretty admirable.
Before I let you go, I want to talk to you about the world that is college football when it comes to coaches. And you just look up at Wisconsin, and it's rare that they're sticking. Yeah. And that's probably the one that I would probably, that was the one that seemed like an obvious firing, and that's the one that's getting to stick with it. Obviously, being close to Iowa, you look at what Kirk Ferentz did, and he was a loser his first 2 years. Not a loser, but he lost a lot of games. And now he's the winningest coach in the conference. Those days are long gone. There's a lot of job openings, and I'm not linking Brett Bielema to any of them because you can tell how happy he is there, and I know the buyout is huge. But in today's day of college football, is it nice as down in Illinois to look at others doing different things and knowing that you've got the right guy that wants to be at the University of Illinois?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you have it with Underwood and with Bielema. Shauna too. I mean, you've got coaches who want to stay at Illinois, want to build things at Illinois. They love their athletic director. My fear is that Whitman becomes president of the NCAA or president of the NFL team. Because I think they want to ride with Whitman. I think that Whitman gives them all the support in the world. So I think there's a lot of truth to that. You look around. I'm just amazed that these athletic directors have no patience with losing. But they also have no patience with, as soon as a guy wins, they give him an extension, and they give him, you can't be both ways. You can't be, I'm going to fire the guy if he loses the first 2 years. I'm going to give him a 10-year extension if I'm just amazed at how fly off the handle all the decisions are sometimes. But that's kind of society. We don't have a lot of patience.
Jim, it's like every college expects to win 10 games. And if they don't, then they're going to be angry. Like, you look at, Arkansas fired their coach. And I don't know a lot about the situation, but I'm like, you're Arkansas. And like there's other places like you are where you are. You're going to have to build it. You're not going to have to like flip a switch. You're not Alabama. You're not like Georgia and all these teams. The lack of patience is absolutely crazy. What does your week look like? I know you have volleyball going. You guys still pretty well represented in football as well, I'm assuming.
We are. We've got mostly road games this week, which is going to be tough. So we have a tough Saturday with football road games. But we do have volleyball. You mentioned Riverdale. They take on an unbelievable Bloomington Central Catholic team. They got a girl going to Auburn, junior, as good a player as we have in our area. So Central Catholic is back in the finals. We have 3 volleyball teams in the finals. We actually have a couple swimmers who might win state championships this weekend. So it's been it's been busy. Saturday, I've got a board up here. Saturday is it's a tough one, but we'll get through it. But I'm looking forward to Illinois tonight, and I'm enjoying your show, enjoying your coverage. It's fun because we see a lot of the Rockridge. I felt sick for Rockridge. One of our teams, Tri-Valley, beat them, and I know Rockridge had a great run, and I hope those kids can embrace what they did in the regular season because, again, years from now they're going to have great memories. It's hard when we don't make that playoff run, but I was excited again to come on right after the Monmouth coach because there's nothing like high school football playoffs when the whole town's rallying around you. It's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to a lot of games Saturday.
You're right, Jim. One of the best things about what you get to do and what I did for a while was you love watching the winning and like the reactions of that. But like the hard part of the job is the other end of it. And I remember being with my camera walking out, like grabbing a kid saying, "Hey, head up." Because like you gave not just your school a lot to be proud of for the year, but we enjoy it too. You know what I mean? Like you get you get locked into what they're doing and where they're going and the young people that they are. So it's a beautiful thing that you get to do and that I got to do for so long. And I like to continue to get to do. I just don't have to run around crazy. I just use my Zoom button and get them on the show here. So Jim, I appreciate it. Best of luck. Do you get to go tonight?
I am not. 7:30 is such a bad time for me.
Yep. Yeah. I used to always say, and I'd see a game like for Iowa, and I'd be like, "Why is that a Tuesday? Like, why can't it be a Saturday where I can get up to it?" But that's a tough one this time of year. Yeah. So, all right, my friend.
But hey, real quick, happy Veterans Day! Thanks to everybody in the military. I've got a few military people in my family, and God bless what they do every day. We don't think about them enough, and thank goodness for all of them.
Well said, Jim. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, buddy. That is Jim Mattson, one of the best in the business, one of a legend in the state of Illinois, and rightfully so. And well said there. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there as well. We get to do what we get to do because of your sacrifice, and we get to play TV host in our loft and go cover sports and go play sports because of the sacrifices they've made for us, which is a beautiful thing as well. So I want to thank all our guests today. It's been a fun day. Kyle Huesmann started things off talking Iowa women's basketball. They've been impressive so far. They have a in-state week where they get Drake coming up and they get Northern Iowa coming up on Sunday. So go check out Kyle if you missed it. What a crazy story for Riverdale. Winning the sectional without their head coach and assistant coach, and then having to do the same thing in the super sectional. And Jim just mentioned, now they get a very talented Bloomington Central Catholic team. But when you're playing the way you are this time of year, you show up and you go play. And we wish Riverdale the best of luck. Those 3 young ladies did a fantastic job on the show. Jeremy Adolphson, always great to talk to him. Jim mentioned again, he knows how good Bloomington Central Catholic was. And for Monmouth Roseville to go down there and win that game proves they can beat anybody in the state, and they'll try that again against Richmond Burton. So if you missed Jeremy Adolphson, go check him out. And then Jim Mattson talking a little Illinois. It'll be Illinois and Texas Tech tonight, 7:30 on FS1. We'll figure out a way to chat about that tomorrow. I don't know if maybe Ked Prince will be available or somehow, some way we'll recap that. We also got Jake Brand usually on a Wednesday. Ness guest comes up tomorrow as well. I think Ness got me pretty good this week, so we'll have that segment from Hungry Hobo. And still tracking down North Scott Volleyball, working with them. We're going to get them on the show too as well. So a busy week, and it's just through Tuesday. So we got a lot more to get to throughout the week. The Iowa basketball team will be in action on Friday when they take on Xavier. Iowa goes to USC football-wise. A lot to get to. We just mentioned Illinois and Maryland and Champaign this weekend as well. So a lot to get to. We want to thank you for watching today's show and watching like you do each and every day. Don't forget, we'll be back here again every morning, 10 a.m. Come hang out with me and talk some sports. We'll talk to you guys soon.